So in today's lesson, right, again, there's 2 calls today. We're going to talk about authority funnels, right? The 3 types of authority funnels. And we're going to talk about profile funnels on this call. And then on the second call, we're going to talk about a virtual consult funnel and a school funnel. One sec, there's people hopping on. Initially, if you looked at the course curriculum here on today's call, like the first call, I was going to go over authority funnel, profile, and virtual consult, but just doing like the slide deck presentation, I felt like there was a lot of meat there. So I wanted to leave some room for questions and whatnot. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. But before we do we have any questions on anything that we went through yesterday? Any burning questions before I just dive into it? No? Alrighty. Let me share my screen. All right, just because I can't see your faces or it's on the side, give me a thumbs up if you guys can see my Canva slideshow. Yeah, okay, cool. So today is about, on this call, mastering the authority funnel and profile funnel. And when I say authority funnel, there's 3 types. I wanna start off here. Profile, virtual consult, and school. And I was actually thinking about this, the best way that I can teach this type of marketing. Initially, I started off with like school or teaching the school funnel, implementing like virtual consult elements and stuff like that. But I found that people, especially who are newer to this type of marketing, were holding on to the notion of school when school is just a tool that we use in the authority funnel as a whole, right? So moving forward, I'd like you guys to start off with a profile funnel. And then if you do choose to use these elements, you ascend up to virtual consult, to school funnel, right? But doing it this way, I feel gives you a foundation of content first, and it piggybacks off of the mindset stuff that we talked about on last call. And let me stop sharing just for the sake of like just highlighting this point. The reason why I'm doing this now is just based off the one-on-ones. There's a lot of, again, holding on to the notion or the tool of school when really you should be focusing on to the psychographics of your target demographic and creating content that serves you, right? First is ultimately what the authority funnel is all about, right? So that's why I want you guys to start off with the profile funnel first. So agenda today, overview of what the authority funnel is as a whole, right? And how the 3 types of funnels integrate amongst the whole strategy of set authority funnel. The importance of strategic content. We're going to talk about the content structure, top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel. Today, we're going to go over, the profile overview and exact actionable steps, right? Because I know you guys want that on how to build out your own profile funnel here one-on-one today. And because I'm going to be just talking about concepts, I'm not going to be looking at your faces sometimes. So if you have a burning question, please interrupt me, because I'm sure some other person has the same question, and it'll just help out the group as a whole. Cool? Cool. So the authority funnel, the definition, right? The definition is using content to attract our dream clients and selling high ticket services even before stating the price or before we say the price. And the importance is, we want to be waking up to DMs from potential clients eager to work with you. Imagine that, right? Imagine, you waking up to DMs asking like, hey, how can I work with you, Francisco, or how can I work with you, Blake, as opposed to like consistent cold outreach and it's like a grind. You know what I mean? I think, I don't know if you guys saw my story yesterday, but Yash in the group just closed like a 4K deal, and he was like, it just came from YouTube. It's nuts. I was like, yeah, man, that's what I do all the time. Right? That's why I focus in on content. So in essence, that is the main consensus of an authority funnel, and why we started off with mindset to get you into the groove of, if you focus in on this type of content, and even more so, getting the reps in on how to identify and attract and sell your target demographic on a psychographic level, and they're sold on your services before you even say the price. Again, when you get on a sales call, it's more of a take payment call and onboarding, if anything, right? So why are authority funnels important? Generate consistent inbound leads, establish authority and trust with your audience. And truth be told, I kind of hate that answer because it's always like every marketer says that, right? But let me say it in my way. It's all about value, right? People only buy when the value we present to them is greater than the cash that they give us, right? So just showing up and getting the reps in and, iterating on top of our own content strategy on how we can best stimulate the psychographics of our target demographic is how we pull them in, right? Pull marketing. And if for all you, for people that have been in the game for a little while, it's no different than, HubSpot's inbound marketing. At that time, they were pushing their CRM. They're all about blogging and stuff like that. It just transformed into something new, but the framework is still the same. Does that make sense? And then convert leads into high-paying clients without hard selling. Even yesterday, we talked about like how my sales calls are. It's more so conversational in nature, and we're just like, having a conversation and chilling. Blake, you're the one I remember on this call where it was very much like that, right? It's like, what's up, man? So that is the idea. The goal of your content. I would hold on to this. I got this from an individual called Dan Bolton, which trained a few of my colleagues. But if you're not waking up to DMs of prospects asking how they can work with you, then something is off. That's it. That's the secret, right? We're going to go more into depth on that. But again, this is how we start to get back our time, is if we basically let our content do the hard work. It's just funny that, people that are in, one sec. There's people in the waiting room. One sec, guys. People that have been in sales, or even more so people that have come from other agency programs, it's always about like the hard sell and whatnot. Why does it have to be like that, right? We're attracting the wrong type of clients, and furthermore, we don't have time to do that anyway. So why don't we create authority, right? Because again, people only buy when the value we present to them is greater than the cash they give us, and just utilize something that we can scale ourselves. And this is ultimately, here's a pro tip. This is how I sell like doctors on my services, like $8,000 to $10,000 a month. And a lot of it is like an ascension of status play, right? Again, every niche is different, but in my discovery calls, they've always told me for years, like, if I can get them into the clinic, I could sell them. You know what I mean? So my hook is like, oh, great. You're a master of your craft. You obviously have value. You have value to bring. You have things to offer this world. Just people don't know it, right? You are the bottleneck. So let's transition that one-to-one sale that you're telling me that you can get any time that they get into the clinic. Let's transition that one-to-one sale to one-to-many, and imagine what your sales would be like then. Does that make sense? Why content is important, right? Hey, Yari. Thanks for I posted your what you said yesterday in the testimonial that you said yesterday on my story, and I was like, got a lot of likes, so thanks.
Thanks, of course. It's all real. It's all real.
Yeah. Thank you. Oops. Does anyone know why when I stop sharing, like I lose what I was sharing before? It's weird. One sec. Can you guys see my Canva slide deck? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. So for those of you who just joined, I'm going to reiterate this because I think it's important, right? I got this from an individual, Dan Bolton, who trained some of my colleagues here. If you're not waking up to DMs of prospects asking how they can work with you, then something is off, right? This alone really changed the lives of my family and how I structure business and what I want out of, I'm going to just reiterate my life because it is scaling me, right? There's only one of me. And if I'm going to be a consultant, it's very, time consuming to, get on calls and, you know what I mean? Like all the time and say what I do and communicate my value. Doing an authority funnel has taken me out of that in terms of me being the bottleneck and transition my one-to-one sale to one-to-many, just like my clients, right? And that's highly valuable. So the content structure overview. Top of funnel, short form videos on Instagram and carousel posts. And when I say Instagram, I really mean just choose one channel, right? Technically, you can post this on TikTok, you can post this on X or whatever. I chose Instagram because it does have community elements to it in terms of like direct messages and stuff like that. TikTok is a beast in its entirety. TikTok, X as well. Just choose one, right? I chose Instagram. You don't necessarily have to choose it, but choose one, right? Short form videos and carousel posts. Middle of funnel, long form videos on YouTube and also carousel posts. Raj, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, when you're talking about creating content, let's say I have decided in my niche and I want to create content around that. So do we have to start a new account for that, individual account for that niche? Because I'm asking that because I have a YouTube channel where I post coding content. And let's say I'm targeting different market, different niche. So that will not be relevant. So let's say my new niche is coaches and consultants, where I'm teaching them how they can grow through organic traffic. So what would you suggest? Do you suggest to start a brand new Instagram account and a YouTube channel, or should we post on the?
What's the goal of your coding channel? Is it
actually I've been I from last 3 years I've been coaching people on how they can start their career in tech.
Okay. Are you moving away from that, or are you going to do that in parallel?
Yeah. I want to
move away.
I want to do it in parallel, but down the line I want to move to like a different niche.
Okay. So what I can say in terms of community, the best way is to start a new channel, right? Start a new channel just because people want to be around other people. Truth be told, it's why I work very hard to like get people just like us, because part of what I'm going to build too is like how you guys can work with each other to scale your own content. You'll learn about that, tomorrow. But I will say this, right? If you scroll back on my Instagram, you will see right now coaches and consultants. Then you'll see med spas. Then you'll see I went through a music phase. You know what I mean? So for me, I just released it. And I didn't necessarily care just because in my belief, and I talked about this yesterday, I'm the offer. If that makes sense, right? So, first impressions is always great, right? So when I'm doing my actual authority funnel, if they see the number of followers, they're like, oh, let me give this guy a shot. And then I let the content indoctrinate them, right? So it's a choice that you have to make. If you're willing to like let go of those the coding individuals, I say keep the same channel and then move forward, right? But if you're trying to do it in parallel, you might get some flack where it's like people are in this community that don't necessarily are not the same as me, and this is weird. I'm going to leave. Does that make sense?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions like that?
No, thanks.
Cool. Let me get back to sharing the screen. I don't know why the image is not being shared when I go full screen, but I'll just go like this. Bottom funnel, video ask videos, DM scripts, virtual sales letters, and pre-sale videos. Again, I'm giving you the framework of all three funnels right now in terms of top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel. But we're just going to talk about the profile funnel on this call, and then the next call we're going to talk about virtual consults and school funnels, right? But for those of you who are who joined the group call late, I want you guys to start off with profile funnels because it gives you a good foundation on content, and then you move up from there, right? So top of funnel content, attract and engage potential clients. We use short form videos, max a minute long, and there's a method to the madness here because when we do ads, and I'm going to touch up on this today a little bit, but it's going to be more so tomorrow. We run profile view ads for true profile funnels, and the max is like a minute long, so you can promote your post. Otherwise, it's going to have to be a separate upload. Does that make sense? So max 1 minute long, and I know that might be hard for you guys, and I'm speaking to myself because I like to add everything, but it causes you to be more concise. And even more so when you look at how tomorrow we're going to talk about how we structure content, how we develop those hooks. We literally have milliseconds to capture their attention. Rajdeep, you probably already know this based off your background, but we literally have milliseconds, right?
It's super hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about under 1 minute, that's specifically to be able to utilize it with an ad, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And I've seen so much conflicting information about kind of how the algorithm has changed recently, very recently, like the last month, where they're pushing smaller accounts and all those kind of gimmicky things where you're hooking them in 4 seconds or doing like a super short post. That stuff's kind of all being filtered out. So I wonder if you have any kind of insight on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, sorry, what was the last portion, Corey? I missed it.
Sweet spot for the length of what you're trying to put out there at the top of the funnel stuff.
Well, for me, my style is I want to maximize the minute at all times. But here's the deal. Since I've been in marketing, things have been forever changing. It's hard for me to keep up. So this is why, again, I started off with the mindset stuff about let's just focus in on you. Because everyone's talking about tactics and stuff like that. You know what I mean? No one's talking about hey, what do you actually care about? You know what I mean? So for me, I'm aware of the changes, but it's so hard to keep up, man, right? And even Meta is pushing Advantage Plus, which I'm testing with good results, right? But they're saying, hey, make campaigns easier, right? Let the give it context so the AI algorithm has enough context to find your ideal audience, right? So this is why go ahead.
Advantage Plus is what exactly?
Or I'll give you the context, right? I think it's good if people don't know. So I'm going to go back. Before Cambridge Analytica, we had all these targeting options available to us, right? Income, blah, blah, blah. And then Zuck testified in front of Congress, and it messed up pixel tracking, right? So the data that us as advertisers had access to didn't have it, right? So that's why they pushed, iOS 14. That's why they pushed their API integration to track conversions on a server level, because prior to that, it was tracked on a browser level via the pixel, right? So now to combat that, right, because it's their job to keep us as advertisers. Otherwise, if it doesn't work for us, we're going to move somewhere else. This is why I'm teaching frameworks, right? Because if Meta goes away, then at least you guys have the framework. You know what I mean? So this is why they're pushing their Advantage Plus, which is their own AI algorithm, right? So you effectively enable Advantage Plus and you keep things open. And again, I'm going to go over this more so in depth tomorrow, but since you asked, keep things open, but we focus in on giving Meta the context similar to how we talk about in ChatGPT, right? We were talking about this before the call that we really got into it, where it's like, hey, the more you can treat ChatGPT or talk to it like an actual human to give it context. And this is ultimately why I only use the same ChatGPT instance for the entirety of my consulting program, because it's giving context. It just gives better results. What they say, yeah, no interest, right? What they say is if you know, in the copy and in the scripting of your video, if you're speaking to your ideal client, you're giving it context for the AI algorithm via Advantage Plus to find the perfect person that will most likely convert. Does that
So
make sense?
doing it's doing the funneling for us more or less if we allow it to have access to our copy, our data, all the stuff we're trying to do anyways.
100%. Yeah. The thing that I've noticed too is it takes a little while for you to start seeing like, you know, oh, these conversions are awesome, right? Just given it, there's a learning period now. So that's why if you really look at their ads, they're pushing the learning period to like kind of like set our expectations right, because us as advertisers, we're used to like, oh, we're getting it fast, right? Is that helpful, Corey?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know, I just, you know, I've messed around with kind of like the shorter kind of gimmicky, hooky type of things. I've experimented with kind of what I think that you do, which is you jump right into your story like immediately. Like there's no, it's like a cold intro more or less, right? And, whoa, what's this, right? So they have to watch. They're compelled to watch.
Yeah.
By either visual hook or not even. I didn't even when I first saw your top of funnel, I didn't know like what I was consuming, right? So you sit there and you're 10 seconds in. I'm like, hold on, what did he say? And then I have to go back. So
it's working.
It's like the cold, yeah, it's the cold intro, right? And
right.
So you have to, and I think that what people, a lot of people that I see online, they're selling kind of the gimmicky way to manufacture that rather than hopping into an actual story, right? You have to, and that's what I was talking about with storytelling. It's like, you know, how do you authentically get into it as quickly as possible? Right. So
100%. Yeah. Hopefully, well, one, my intention for you on this call is to just share how I'm doing it. And I'm going to go more into like content structure and strategy on tomorrow's call. Side note, I like deconstructed like Jenna Hoyas's like content strategy. Rajdeep, I think you know who that is. I'm sure because you're on YouTube. But no, she's like a viral shorts person that like each shorts that she posts is like 1 million+ views or whatever. But yeah, it's worked well for me. So, but that's for tomorrow. Going back. So top of funnel content. Attract and engage potential clients. Formats, short form video, 1 minute. And that's strategic, right? Because part of the authority funnel is to use paid ads, more specifically profile view ads, so we can start to, in a non-salesy way, establish our authority, right? Carousel image posts on Instagram, which I'll show you some examples. And then the call to action is this. There's you can test out different variations, but this is what I do. Hey, if you want to know more about authority funnels, just shoot me a follow and scroll through my past content, right? DM me grow to chat or DM me more to learn more. Check out the link in my bio if you want to know more about authority funnels. I'm not saying book an appointment, right? So that it alone is a pattern interrupt. Most people are trying to sell you something, right? And I'm not saying that I don't, but if you really look at my ads, I am asking for the sale on remarketing.
Yeah, you're not asking for it either.
Right. Middle of funnel content is the whole intention is to nurture leads and build trust, again, in a non-salesy way. And look at it this way. This is what I've learned in this process with authority funnel on Instagram and on YouTube. Just showing up alone just gives a level of like, he must know what he's talking about, or she must know what he's talking about, right? And even on YouTube as well, even if you don't consume the content, if you're a traditional, you've been in the game for a little while, at least for me, like when I had really had to search deep on like how I've bought in high ticket stuff before, and I look at their social profiles. Are the top, do I resonate with the topics? I might click on one. And then if I like what I'm seeing, I might just move forward without consuming the content in its entirety. Of course, we want to structure the content correctly, but this is what I've learned, right? And then going back to middle of funnel content, we utilize these middle of funnel pieces of content to address any limiting beliefs, why someone would say no, overcome any objections through long form YouTube video content. Minimum to strive for is 5 minutes. I obviously go a little longer because I think, at least for my audience, like the 12-minute mark seems to be the sweet spot. But if you were to like just start, like minimum 5 minutes, right? But it doesn't have to necessarily be long form videos. It can also be carousel posts as well. Again, I'll show you some examples. And then the CTA, watch the video for more, or DM me grow. Is this making sense, guys? Okay. And then bottom of funnel content is meant to qualify leads and convert them into clients, right? And we do that through Video Ask, which is the virtual consult thing that I'm pushing that has been a game changer for myself and clients. DM scripts, so how we set appointments, how we nurture those individuals, virtual sales letters, and pre-sale videos, which again, I will give you some examples. And then the CTAs are schedule a call, watch this video before our call. Any questions on the types of contents before we move on to the nuts and bolts of the profile funnel?
The virtual consult is the Video Ask video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Of course. Of course.
I actually have a question about the top of funnel contents. When you create reels on Instagram, do you also put that as a YouTube short on top of your middle of the funnel content?
Yes, I do. I actually forgot to put that into the presentation. Yes, I do. So thank you for reminding me. Thank you for let me go through that right now. That's actually been a godsend for me. One sec. And thank you for catching that. I'm willing to bet. So the cool thing with shorts, can you guys see my YouTube on my screen?
Yeah.
The cool thing with shorts right now is they're pushing it pretty hard, right, to compete with like TikTok and IG Reels. They're all competing with one another. But the thing that I've noticed is it's easier to go quote unquote viral, right? And even viral is relative. Like I don't really care if like it goes to like 1,000 views or whatever. All I really care is if it gets in front of the right person. If that makes sense. But the cool thing about it is I was hesitant to switch to consulting because I love monthly as an agency owner. So I decided to see if I could still get that monthly. But the cool thing about it is you can tease your virtual consult or your you can tease your virtual sales letter or your middle funnel piece of content on YouTube. So they can click here to watch more essentially. Does that make sense? And that has driven sales for me. That has driven follows for me. Just utilizing, I'm essentially riding the wave of, they're just trying to push it, right? So I was like, all right, rather than swim upstream, let me swim downstream and then just funnel people into my authority funnel. Because, the thing that I want to teach you guys is it's not school, it's not even YouTube, it's just frameworks of short form to long form. And if they're pushing short form, let me just ride the wave and direct traffic to my long form. And the description on my YouTube video is how to enter into the group. Does that make sense?
So that's a feature within the when you're actually posting a short, you can link it to a different piece of video you have.
Yep, 100%. 100%. And if you guys want, tomorrow when we talk about content, I could go over that structure.
That would be great.
Cool. Zooming in. All right. So the authority funnel at its core, right? Can you guys see this or is it too small? Oop. At its core is top of funnel pieces of content, could be videos, could be carousel posts, to your Instagram page, and we view our Instagram page as our landing page. That's the mental shift, right? Before, as marketers, we were like, this is vanity metrics, likes, follows, comments, blah, blah, blah. But since we're doing profile views, we want those, because what that does, if we're doing the authority funnel correctly, is that stimulates conversations. And if you've read Alex Hormozi's recent book, $1 Million, the content, or whatever the second book is, the blue book, it's $1 Million Leads, $100 million leads. He classifies as a lead as just someone that you can contact. That's it. So by definition, if it's just someone that you can contact, let us contact each person that inbound gives us a like, comment, or follow, or message. That's it. So that's the profile funnel. That's one of the main purposes of the profile funnel, or I should say mindset shifts, is to treat those vanity metrics that we thought were vanity. And I'm speaking to direct response marketers right now, where we'd be like, we'd actually talk about how those were a negative and we want to generate ads. We want to run ads to get like quote unquote leads through lead forms. Now let's generate engagement to build conversations. And if we're truly speaking to the psychographics of our clientele, then they're going to respond, right? So we treat our Instagram page as our landing page. We drive traffic to long form videos on YouTube. And then we use CTAs to engage and convert our followers, right? So going to the diagram here, I know it's a little small, but you'll get the recording and the link. Top of funnel piece of content to Instagram page, driven to a remarketing audience. And this is where we remarket to them middle of funnel pieces of content to further push them down the buying cycle, right? We introduce long form pieces of content to nurture them, to overcome objections, and to sell people on our high ticket services before we even say the price. And then we get on a call with them. Make sense? Cool.
Yeah. So if we refer back to the book $100 Million Leads, like, you know how he talks about the different types of ways to get clients. So, cold outreach, content, ads, and everything. So basically what we're doing now is basically just creating the content and then eventually running ads to that content, but we're not touching the cold outreach side of it, right?
Correct. And if you do outreach, it's to people that are warm.
Got you. So if I was doing cold outreach from my main profile right now, would you advise me to stop doing that?
Yeah, 100%. And I have, just because I have gone on a one-on-one with you, right? I would even more so, if you were to do cold outreach, I would build out your own, at the very least, authority funnel on your profile alone before you start to do outreach again, so you can utilize those pieces of content to serve you.
Right, okay.
Right? Because just not having those pieces of content and you're doing all this work, and I know for a fact it's a lot of work, the outbound outreach, might as well utilize those pieces of authority funnel elements to serve you in your appointment setting as opposed to not, right?
I was thinking about this specifically, and because I've done this, like, let's say I've had responses for the past week or so, and because I'm doing a transition, I wasn't really clear on, like, okay, so what's my message to these people? And but it's kind of bothering me because I'm not open back. So, but I was thinking of an angle, and you let me know if that makes sense. But I was thinking of getting people to do interviews with me and record those calls, and eventually bring that up in my content and use that in my authority funnel.
100%. I was going to save this for tomorrow to scaling content, but this is what I want. I want to make life easier for everyone here in terms of authority funnel content. So I actually thought about this on the drive here to my office and I was going to save this for tomorrow, but since it's relevant, I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to go back to authority funnel stuff, just because I want you guys to. I want the first call just so we can just build it out, because that's what I promised you guys, right? And then we can talk about the other stuff. But here's what I would do to scale your own authority funnel content, like this week, Francisco and everybody, is download Riverside. You guys know what this is? Did I mention this to, I mentioned this to a few people on my one-on-ones, right? Download Riverside, get with someone in the group, interview one another, because this is how I created content for my medical aesthetic practice owners, is I just interviewed them, and then it would already create clips that I could use for ads. Just find someone in the group. I might even make a category where if you guys need content, it'll be like, hey, I'm looking for someone to interview. You guys both get the content. Does that make sense?
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So, and also for the people that are, techies and stuff like that, it uploads in 4K natively to your machine. So when it does create these video pieces of content, it's in 4K. So would StreamYard work for that? I have no clue. I don't know what that is. But if it does the same thing as Riverside, I would imagine so. But I have no idea.
I've heard conflicting things about uploading in 4K to IG. Any experience on that? Are you just uploading them straight away from Riverside after minimal kind of editing?
I think that it depends on the audience, because even with my medical aesthetic practice owners, we test out highly production value stuff and then also iPhone quality stuff, and there's strategies behind both. One, like highly production, 4K video stuff gives a sense of like authority, and you kind of want that if someone's going to cut you open as a plastic surgeon, you know what I mean? But then also to supplement that in the content mix, to have iPhone quality stuff as a pattern interrupt is also ideal too. So I think it depends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I don't think that, to a lot of people that there's a huge difference yet between 1080p and 4K, at least on, like an iPhone 13 or 14. If they're on an iPhone 15 or something like that, it might make sense, but that's just my personal experience.
Yeah. And Blake's right. IG will compress 4K though, just FYI. Yeah, it's just different looks, right? And I actually addressed this here in this presentation where I test out different types of stuff, just because I don't want it to be too much perceived as an ad, so that's why I have different content mixes, but still value, right? Still value.
It's better to have. There's two trains of thought. Everything should look exactly the same on your entire profile, or you want to have someone be like, oh, I didn't expect this, or that looks different, or what's this, or blah, blah, blah. And I think probably lean towards the latter, if I'm hearing it right.
Yeah, 100%. So here are the we have less than 20 minutes left. Here are the actionable steps for you guys to create your own profile funnel here this week. And when I say this week, I guess the framework, because depending on when you film the content and edit it could prolong that. But at least for the sake of just starting, you could start it this week, right? So before you launch ads, here's what I recommend: 9 short form pieces of content, one carousel post. And I'm going to give you an example. Here's the reason. You guys see my Instagram? Yes or no? Just because I can't see you? Thumbs up. Yep, cool. I say 9 because on mobile, it just looks full. That's it. Right? And if we're going to run paid ads to it, again, we talked about it on this call, we literally have milliseconds to capture their attention. I just want it to be, this guy shows up, I'm going to see what he has to talk about. Just that alone will help you, right? So 9 pieces of content, video first, 1 carousel post, that's middle of funnel, right? I'm going to, when I upload this video, I will give you Canva templates so you guys can just start, but it's going to look like this. I call it like a Twitter post. You probably have already seen this, but it's middle funnel positioning, right? Most of you can't afford the fail. When I transitioned from running my DIY agency to becoming a consultant, everything changed, right? So I'm like talking to you as if like I've already said my digital hello, which is ultimately how I look at top of funnel piece of content. I talk about, I work with every day. I work with agency owners who are burnt out, right? So I'm speaking to you. DM me the word time if you're interested in learning more. And I tested out a different, just for a side note, I tested this out for my own profile funnel. If you guys have seen my story, I think yesterday, where I was getting like a $15 cost of acquisition for this group. So I think one of you on the call saw something like this and paid, right? So it's working. So this is the carousel post that I talk about. And then again, after this call, I'll give you a template. Sorry, someone was saying something?
Sorry, I was just going to say, do you actually have a Twitter account as well?
I do, but I don't use it. I just call it a Twitter X post because it looks like Twitter, you know? Yeah.
I see this a fair bit. I mean, I think it's good just for using text and, you know, maybe carousel. I think it's a good approach.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you actually had a Twitter if someone were to look through or look for it, right?
Yeah.
Or if I basically.
Well, I mean, I do technically have a X account or a Twitter account, and there are colleagues of mine that do the authority funnel framework. They just supplement Instagram for X. I just like, I have found more success on Instagram in terms of like eliciting and connecting with people.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay for X.
Yeah. 2 YouTube long form videos, 1 middle of funnel, and I'll show you an example of mine, 1 VSL, right? And I'm going to give you scripts on how to use ChatGPT after this call to execute those, right? So for context, if you look at my profile funnel, right? I'm going to zoom in here. You guys see it better? If you look at mine, right, and we're going to talk about these elements, I treat my Instagram page as a landing page. I utilize top of funnel content to drive traffic somewhere, right? DM me the word time or shoot me a follow and scroll through my past content. I have this YouTube video link here that directs to my middle funnel piece of content. For anyone watching, especially if you, so it's, I quit my agency, right? To build a 70K a month a business working 15 hours a week. Pretty appealing, right? It's like, oh, cool, he did it. And then in the description, here's my VSL. If you're wanting to transition your DFY agency to a done with you consulting business, click here. So you want to start a consulting business, but you don't know where to begin. In this video, virtual sales letter. Description, you know, either DM me more to chat, or I'm just going directly to the group. Does that make sense?
I have a quick question. I don't want to derail your thoughts, but
Yeah.
basically, are you strategically disguising the VSL in YouTube on purpose rather than
100%.
On, let's say, like a high level opt-in page?
100%. That's the framework, right?
Yeah.
This is why I say, like, you guys are not far off, right? I'm just, and it's the same framework. It's just transitioned differently, right? So I'm going to move forward here, just so, Jack, it'll give you context and for everybody. Literally, the reason why I do it on YouTube is because, look at this. This is a high ticket client. It's I've worked with a few marketing teams, basically limiting belief. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, sounds like a plan. You can also take a look at this quick video so you can understand what I do for your business. VSL, right? I just send it via YouTube. Okay, what's your charge? That's it. That's it. This is why I focus on content first, right? So sorry to repeat myself, but it's been a game changer, guys. And the reason why I say that is because I struggled with just focusing on content for a long time because I would revert back to my done for you agency owner ways in terms of direct response. it wasn't until I released controls when things started to happen for me. Does that make sense? Right? So steps to build your profile funnel, right? Use ChatGPT for scripts. And again, I'm going to give you a framework after this call. Optimize your IG and YouTube profiles. I'm going to go more into that in the next 10 minutes. Sign up for Calendly. The GHL snapshot is already in place. The only thing is I didn't give you guys context. I was waiting for this call, but there is a pre-sale landing page already built. You just have to configure it. Right? And then create the pre-sale landing page. And here's what I mean by all of that, right? Use ChatGPT to create every piece of content, if not just the beginning foundation. So this is a screenshot, but again, I'll link the actual example prompts, but it's like, help me create 9 pieces of top of funnel, authority funnel content for 1-minute videos. These videos should attract and engage my target audience, showcasing my expertise, drawing them into my funnel, right? You have to fill out your industry, right? Target audience, pain points, USP. I'm giving this to you as if you're coming in cold, but it should even be way easier if you've done module 1, like the consulting blueprint, and using the ChatGPT instance that I'm recommending you guys use this whole time for context. Make sense? Right?
So what do you mean, for context, you mean using the first prompt and then afterwards using this to actually have the whole picture? Is that what you mean by that?
No, here's what I mean by that is, and it might be slow because have multiple tabs open, but you see this scale back your time instance here? I've been using it the whole time. One instance asking for, hey, can you create an email thing? Hey, I'm going to upload an audio file. Can you copy my speech patterns? Hey, can you basically the same thing that I went through that I'm trying to get you guys to do on module 1, I did as well. So now I can be conversational and be like, hey, I need this. And I want you to pull elements of what I said before in the past. So now I can talk to it more so like a VA. Obviously, like, you want to be contextual about it, but I can talk to it and it could be, I could do less steps now giving it context as if you were just coming into a cold instance. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. The reason why you do need module 1, if you guys remember, like creating your offer, I help audience alleviate X pain and this amount of days through this process. That offer, you just slap on your bio on Instagram. So I built a 7-figure agency. Now I help agency owners transition to consulting and increase profits while working less. DM me the word time to learn more. All right. Let me show you here just live, just so it's better, right? DM me the word time for one-on-one help. That's it. You guys should already have this if you've completed module 1. And what I'm talking about are the sheets that we referenced in yesterday's call. Any confusion there? Just want to make sure that's clear.
Are you manually replying to all things, or do you have it automated within that once they send you time?
Historically, I've done it manually and just given the YouTube link. I'm testing out ManyChat right now. I will say with it's sending my link at random times. I still need to figure it out, but historically it's been manual.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing with YouTube. Really all I'm asking you guys to do is just to, in the thumbnail, just put in what you do and refer back to your offer. If you guys need some guidance, I will give you guys a Canva template on what I use, so you could just change the words. Make sense? Film content, and I put both of this here just to show you I do professional high quality and I do run and gun iPhone quality. All I want you guys to do is to just start. Imperfect action like we were talking about yesterday. right? Thanks, Yari. I'm trying to break it down. People are communicating they need a step-by-step roadmap, so I'm trying my best here, right? Film content, just take the first step, because here's what I say to my clients. Your first piece of content, you're going to hate, but it's a great learning lesson to show you, oh, I should have said this differently, or I need to, there's lint on my shirt. Maybe I should do a lint roller beforehand so I don't look like a scrub. You know what I mean? I need you guys to go through this yourselves, because if you were to truly walk in the shoes of a consultant, and if you were to adopt authority funnels on how I do things, you're going to say the same thing to your clients anyway. So at least experience it for yourselves first, right? And that's the best teaching method, right? I can only teach on things that I've done in the past. And if you're teaching things that you've never done, then you're a hack, I guess, right? JK. Edit content yourself or outsource, right? So if I'm just doing just quick stuff on Loom and I want overlay text, I use CapCut. I have an iPad. I use Final Cut Pro on my iPad. My personal editor is here in the group. So you guys can get the same style, not the same style, but you can guys get the same person that's doing all this stuff. What I would ask you guys to do is just to find your own style, right? But he's in the group, and I said, yeah, man, you guys can chat. If you guys want to work with him, just shoot me a DM and I'll introduce you guys. Cool? And I'll let him, talk to you about what that entails. So, set up Calendly, right? And for those of you who are like, hey, I have GHL, like, why do I need Calendly? That's what I thought, but Calendly integrates with virtual, Video Ask. So I've opted to use Calendly just because it's a seamless integration if you do choose to use Video Ask for that, if anything, for that wow factor. Does that make sense? Right? And then
a question regarding that.
Yeah.
The only hesitation I have with that is then the automations. So right now I have a GHL calendar link. As soon as we get the automatic text messages, hour reminder before, what have you. Is there a way that if I do use Calendly in the virtual console, I can pair that with texting automations? Yeah, you just have to create a webhook. You'd have to create a webhook in Zapier, right? And so you can push the calendar event to GHL. And then you would factor in a wait step in GHL, factoring in the calendar data that's pushed from Zapier to Calendly, and you reference that wait step. So it could be like, fire this a day before the booked appointment. Does that make sense? Okay. And if you need to, we can get more into depth on future calls in this workshop, but just want to give you context. Sweet, thank you. Yeah. So set up Calendly, right? And then here you can set up follow-up automations directly on there. But the cool thing about this too is I utilize what's called a pre-sell video that's already in GHL, the GHL snapshot that you guys have already. It's under what's called application funnel, Aesthetic Boss Program, pre-call video. And really all it is once they book, they get this pre-sell landing page just defining what this call will be about. It's if you're doing the traditional sense, you can be like, hey, this is a decision-making call. This is what we're going to talk about, right? Stuff like that. And this is what mine looked like for Aesthetic Bosses, just describing what this call would be about, social proof, right? So you guys get this framework already in the GHL template. If you don't have the link, I'll be posting this with the recording as well. Does that make sense, guys? Cool. Let's see. Yes, sir. Cool. And then drive traffic. I put this on here just because that's part of the authority funnel, right? Again, we're going to talk about launching ads and stuff like that. Not on this call, but I think either tomorrow or the next day. But it is profile views with retargeting
asking for something, whether it be DM me more so we can chat, or to school. I'm doing it to school, right, to the paid group, or book an appointment, right? I would lean more towards on the social funnel aspect of like having conversations and stuff like that and letting your content do the work. But technically you could go to like a booked appointment funnel, right? And then the last thing is have conversations and set appointments, right? I'm going to provide you with top of funnel DM scripts on how to just begin conversations and whatnot. But the idea behind the authority funnel is to just encourage conversations. And if they ask you like, oh, what do you do, right? Or how much does this cost? You can be empowered to be like, oh, well, I break it down here on this video. Let me share it with you. And then the next day, hey, what'd you think about that? Like, that's it. Like, literally, that's it, right? And that should alleviate some of like the stresses of, outbound outreach, right? Mainly I'm talking to Francisco, right? You, because you're doing that. And this is why I'm like, hey, if you are doing that, at the very least, let's create top of funnel, authority funnel pieces of content to maximize our efforts, right? It's the same thing. I should say the parallel is like for our clients when they generate leads and they don't call their leads, it's like we're leaving money on the table, right? So we utilize, for the profile funnel, we utilize our Instagram page as our landing page. We strive to, we use ads to drive traffic and build connections. We use content to nurture, overcome objections and all that stuff with the intention of building our authority and having more conversations. That's it.
One question. So you're not asking for email addresses anywhere in your funnel, is that correct? Or are you?
In the profile funnel, no. But in the virtual consult funnel, yes, right, which we'll talk about on next call. But I wanted to share this one first because it's the easiest, right, in terms of like software, because we're just focusing on creating content. Yes, like we have a pre-sale landing page, but technically you can hold your pre-sale video on YouTube still, right? So really all you need is Instagram, YouTube, and Calendly for this type of funnel. Right? So this is the easiest, but I want everyone to start here because it lays the framework for a virtual consult and a school funnel. Does that make sense? Cool. Was this valuable to you guys? Yes? Cool. Again, feedback is welcomed. It helps me teach. So if you guys need it in a different style or whatever, let me know. But thank you for coming, and we'll see you in an hour for the second call. Cool? Awesome, guys. We'll see you. Peace.